This is Ashley with Our Unbound Life, and this is the podcast Tiny Life Stories. This week I'm going to be sharing the adventure of Debi and Dean Carlson. So let's jump into it. This is a couple who met in high school and they dated, but then Dean joined the Navy and they were disconnected. So they later reconnected through Facebook, which I think is so romantic. It's so special to know someone and then years go by and you meet up with them through social media and reconnect. That's really sweet. So they're originally from Riverside, California, but they've actually lived all over the U.S. And what drew them to tiny living was that they always wanted to explore and travel the U.S., which I find that to be a big motivating factor for a lot of people who are interested in tiny living. You have the mobility with a tiny house or a camper, and it's the best way to live this life is to travel if you're able to. So what motivated them to get into this lifestyle? Well, they have a huge bucket list. They have a lot of places that they wanted to go see and a lot of things to do, and they also have family scattered all over the U.S. Plus, it's easy to visit all of them when you have an RV, which Mike and I are super excited because a week from tomorrow, we will actually be traveling from Florida up to Wisconsin. So we're going to be taking our camper and traveling all over. So Debi and Dean also understand how that is. You get to pick up and go and bring your whole life with you. So when Debi was 9 years old, her parents had rented a Silverstream trailer, and the one similar to the I Love Lucy episode where they rented one for travels. So they took it to Yellowstone and had so much fun. That was her earliest memory of being interested in tiny living, which that's so great it started for her at such a young age. They travel part-time, and this year's been pretty hectic, so they haven't been able to do as much as they wanted to due to obligations and family, but hopefully that will change. It is definitely a lifestyle for them, and I asked how they acquired their tiny abode, and she said, I have a website where I wrote some blogs about how we decided on an RV. So if you want to go check out her website, it is fiestinarsiestarv.com. So I will leave a link for that on this blog so that you can go check it out. They have a Class C RV, and they have a really interesting story on their blog about their visit to Yellowstone, and they drove away in the middle of the night, and their awning when it was pulled in sounded like a bear. Everyone turned on their lights inside their campers and tents. So that's a little teaser of what happened, and I'm very curious to go check out her blog and see what that's all about. So they decided to begin their tiny life living in January of 2019. She works as a bachelor. She has a bachelor's in nutrition, so she's able to work on the road, and Dean is retired, which that's awesome to hear of a retired couple living that tiny life, because that's another great way to enjoy it. So they love to go anywhere with water, and they like to boondock off of Highway 1 and 101 and 395 South. And I'm not too familiar with that, but it's nice because there are a lot of websites where you can check out free camping. So any advice that she wanted to give to people who are interested in this lifestyle, she said that old saying where you can't take it with you is true. And you also don't need a lot when you're traveling. So I kind of did some research on the idiom. Everybody leaves their wealth behind after death, and you're not able to take it with you. So it's just good to live with less material possessions and enjoy the life and the lifestyle of tiny living, because it helps you to focus on what's really important. So the best resources that have helped her, she said, RV Village website. There's a variety of apps where they have free campsites, and then there are different BLM websites for different states, which I have checked out myself, and I highly recommend because it's good to find places that you can park for free. I also personally would recommend before you get to an area, or if you're able to get somewhere and meet some people, get some connections, you might be able to find someone who, could make a little extra money and have you park on their land, and, you could either hook up to their electricity and their sewage, or even just electricity, and find a campground near you where you're able to go dump regularly. That's actually what we've been doing recently, is we are parked somewhere, we're hooked up to electricity, and then we fill up our water tank every couple days with their hose, and then we go dump every 2 weeks, which has been, I would say it's been a wonderful adventure. It's not what we were planning on when we wanted to move into a camper, but to live somewhere for free, and then Mike also works there, has been such an amazing adventure. And we live 3 miles walking distance to the ocean, which I'll be honest, we usually drive, but it's a different lifestyle, but it's so beautiful and wonderful. And we're only going to be parked here for another week, so it was a good temporary fix to try out this lifestyle, and then we're going to move on. So thank you, Debbie and Dean, for sharing your story, and everyone keep living that unbound life.